Before Christ, I was kind of hopeless. It felt like I wasn't where I wanted to be in life. Before I met Christ, I was surrounded by a bad crowd. I was drinking and smoking all the time, and I was selfish. I was living only for myself.
Before I met Jesus Christ, I worshiped the enemy. My whole lifestyle was just jacked up. I had my priorities all mixed up. I wasn't taking care of my children the way I should have been. I wasn't handling relationships in my family the way I should have been, and I was using and abusing a lot of drugs and alcohol.
Sometimes I would just leave an empty void, and there were times that I struggled, that I was just really stressed out, constantly trying to control my own life, and there was always a struggle with that.
I was tormenting myself. It was like every night I was going to sleep like, do I even want to wake up tomorrow,
Yeah, I really lived for only myself and only that day.
And that's where I lived. I kind of festered in just a chaos.
Before Christ, when I was living my life, I was definitely for myself and, using my own moral standards and, always trying to be a good person and do the best that I can. But even at times, it was lonely and left a void. And
I was hurting a lot of people, getting in trouble with the law. I was in and out of jail, almost in prison. So that's what my life was like before I met Christ.
I went with a friend to church over summer, a friend from class, and I'd never heard the truth so clear like that, and it kind of just hit me all at once.
It was a run-in with the law that finally set me straight.
When I finally had somebody my own age talk to me and just share the gospel with me and be so joyful and so apparent that Christ was in his life.
Through a lot of just God's work in my life, I actually was placed in a treatment facility which was faith-based, where I actually came to know Christ, and that was the day. It was May 5th, 2011, where I actually got down on my knees and understanding what Christ sacrificed for me, I decided, maybe it's time to hand my life over to him a little bit and see where that takes me, because the life before obviously wasn't doing me any justice.
There was just one night when I was sitting by myself and, just completely prayed to God, saying that my life is in your hands and I trust in you.
I felt like that I did a lot of things in my past that I couldn't be forgiven of, and that's what the message was that day. It was all about forgiveness.
In that moment, I felt even my life kind of changed after that, because things started to just form in the most glorious way that I could ever explain. It's been amazing. There's really no way to explain that once you have Christ in your life and you want to be able to explain it. There's no words to explain what Christ can do for you.
Yeah, the last day I used tobacco was that day. I went to church that night, woke up the next day, quit. I was done forever.
When I trust in Christ and ask him to give me the strength to handle it, he absolutely does. And it's not easy at all when I try to explain stuff to my family and they just aren't accepting of it and don't understand, but just constantly putting my trust in Christ, knowing that he's going to hopefully eventually help them get to an understanding point with me.
The way I do everything is different, my whole outlook on life.
I maintain sobriety every second of the month. I celebrate my sobriety date. Right now I'm working on my second year.
I don't have that constant struggle for control in my own life, because I trust in him and know that his will be done, and where I will be is where I'm supposed to be.
A famous quote from a good movie is, you can either get busy living or you can get busy dying. And I choose to live. And now I live through Christ.